welcome back to the Sports Spill. Days is going to be joining me here in a while to talk College World Series baseball. You know, Days being the Arkansas fan through and through, he finally has a team to root for in their baseball team, the number one seed coming into this weekend. But I would be, but it would not be right if I do not talk softball College World Series as well. And James Madison and Odyssey Alexander taking the College World Series by storm. Oklahoma came into the College World Series as this huge juggernaut, a home run machine, being called the best softball team possibly ever. And they go down to the unseeded James Madison team. You know, they're being reveled as these underdogs, and they are, but James Madison has been playing good baseball for the last few years now. Anybody that has watched any softball in the last 5 years should know Odyssey Alexander is a badass, and she has proven it this week at the College World Series. The fact that she learned how to pitch on YouTube. She had this will to be a great pitcher. She is a great pitcher. She was not recruited, but here she is in the College World Series, the MVP of the College World Series so far. In that game against Oklahoma, Odyssey Alexander has been carrying this team, both pitching and hitting, but she's getting help. They do have some great players proving it. They got Kate Gordon, who was a little bit struggling as of late. Like at the Super Regionals, James Madison's offense looked like they were going cold at times, but they have got hot again at the right time entering this week. Kate Gordon has hit a home run each of the last two games, one against Oklahoma. They defeated Oklahoma State. They will be in semifinals Sunday as this unseeded team, James Madison, kicking ass. They beat Oklahoma. They beat Oklahoma State in Oklahoma. So they clearly don't have the advantage at this meet. And I just want to say softball overall is the fastest growing sport in the country. The ratings for softball have been up every single year. I'm going to talk a lot of women's sports on this channel probably. I enjoy MMA, women's tennis, softball, basketball. I just think they need more promotion because clearly softball has what it takes to get ratings. And y'all got to go see that play from Odyssey Alexander against Oklahoma State. It's one of the coolest and best plays you will ever see in softball or baseball for that matter. We get a bunt. Odyssey Alexander fields it with one arm. The girl from third is running home. She dives herself after fielding the ball to tag her out. You got to see it. Big ups to James Madison. They have these group of seniors. This was now or never because they have been banging on the door at the Super Regionals to get into the College World Series. They finally do, and they're making the most of it. It's going to be a hard road, though. Oklahoma is not going to go away. The losers bracket is going to be tough for all these teams, though. As of my recording, UCLA and Alabama are playing right now, so I don't know who is going to win that game to advance to semifinals Sunday, but the losers bracket is going to be very interesting on Saturday. Give it a watch. Softball is a very exciting postseason sport and a very exciting sport overall. I'm going to throw it to my talk with Days now, moving on to college baseball. I am here with Days right now. We're going to talk a little College World Series and a team near and dear to his heart. He loves him some Arkansas sports, and he finally has an Arkansas team worth watching, Dave.
I mean, I don't know if that's completely fair. Basketball team made it pretty far.
I know. So I guess why is Arkansas so good this year? Why are they the number one team in the tournament?
I mean, we've always been on the edge of that. I mean, Dave Van Horn has been really great for this baseball program. We're almost always in, the regionals. We don't always make it to the World Series in Omaha, but we're always there. Baseball team's always been pretty good, but this year, I mean, bats are connecting really well. I mean, home runs through the roof. We're able to play small ball if we have to.
So I just kind of want to start the SEC tournament last weekend. Who do you think is the second best team in the SEC?
No doubt, Tennessee, and possibly Vanderbilt. Either of those two have a really good shot of going far in the World Series. I can put Mississippi State up there. They're really fucking good. Ole Miss, you can't count them out. That was one of the series that I was kind of dreading going into, but you just never know how they're going to play. Basically, the entire SEC West is loaded. LSU, can't count them out. That's a tough ball team to play against. Let me see, who else? Let's say Florida, but maybe South Carolina. South Carolina's in there, but I don't see them going far. I didn't even watch most of the SEC tournament. To be honest, I didn't want us playing. I would have been fine with us going out in the first round. I was pretty sure that we had the number 1 seed locked up for the tournament. But this is our first SEC championship, so I'm not going to knock it. It was pretty good. It was a pretty good feeling to get that win over Tennessee, because although their coach is doing really well and getting them into position to make runs in the future, he's just a cocky little. He's a young coach. He's a really young coach. I know him and Dave Van Horn kind of went at it a couple of times this season. So,
did you have? You said you didn't watch much, but did you happen to see the controversy in the Tennessee-Alabama game?
No, what happened?
So basically, when Tennessee lost their first game of the tournament against Alabama, there was a slide into second base, and they said that he was disrupting the second baseman, so they called him out because of that, and that's why they lost, basically.
So, okay, so this is. I just watched a video the other day. It was an old video. I don't know if they've changed this rule, but they threw out the base runner. He was running from third, was sliding into home, and the catcher blocked the path, and they threw the base runner out for, I guess, charging the catcher. I mean, is that kind of the
Yeah, I mean,
situation?
I guess that's the rule. I guess so, because I mean, he kind of touched the guy on the way to base, so that's why they called it, because he kind of almost hit him in the balls, basically.
Look, if the base runner is running the base or running the baseline, he's in that zone, and he doesn't stray from that. I mean, I think the base runner should have right away.
I feel exactly the same. I agree. So I don't think, just because of that, I don't think he should have been called out, but I guess that's the rule, and that's what the rule that was called.
I mean, was it blatant? Like, do you think he was trying to disrupt?
I mean, it's a tough call, but since that is the rule, I could see why they called it, but I also don't think he was it wasn't super blatant, but he did hit him.
So yeah, I mean, there's some room there for interference, but again, if the base runner is not straying away from the line, he should be good. Shouldn't be any interference there. I think it's a lot easier to call interference for the infield blocking a base runner. That's pretty obvious, I think. But the other way around, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I only brought it up because I felt like Tennessee, that loss wasn't super legit. So I wasn't surprised they gave Arkansas a run for their money in the final. But
I mean, they're a tough team. They've got pretty decent pitching. Their hitting is well above average. I mean, it's a young team. Their coach is young. They're gonna be hard to beat. Like, they're gonna be the contenders in the East for years to come. It's not going to be Vandy at the top anymore. I think Tennessee takes that over. Add on, they just got their field redone, or they're planning to get it redone. So they're trying to build, a baseball program. So they're definitely a team to watch out for, not somebody I want to be up against regularly.
We're recording this Friday night, but what happened with Arkansas today in that first game?
I didn't get to watch the game because I was at work, but just looking at the score, it looks like the pitching sucked. When I was on my way home, I think Ramage was the closing pitcher. I think he pitched 2 innings. I don't think any pitcher pitched more than 2.5 innings in this game, and that's not good. That is not good at all, especially to start out the tournament. You know, starting pitching has kind of been an issue all season, where you would like your starting pitcher to come out and throw. I mean, ideally, like 5 innings, if they can, no hit for the first 5. They're
Yeah, that's
under.
always the ideal.
Yeah, they're under 100 pitches, ideally under 80 pitches in the first 5 innings. That way you can save them for later in the series if you have to. But they didn't start off well, and it's been the story the entire season. Arkansas has been a come from behind team, which they've kind of made it through that all throughout the season. They have came back, but that's going to bite you in the ass at some point. And hopefully they didn't save it for this tournament for that to happen.
How about outside of the SEC? What are the teams that you have your eye on as contenders?
I knew you would ask that, and I've got some highlighted just looking at the bracket. I mean, right off the bat, you have your contenders every year. Arizona, Texas. I would say Oregon State. They did get a 2 seed, but they have a pretty easy road out of their bracket against TCU, McNeese, and DBU. So, but they did lose today. So what do I know?
Also, TCU, they look decent when I've watched them a little bit.
And then Oregon, I wouldn't count out like those West Coast teams. They're sneakily good. It's weird, especially those 2 Oregon teams.
Well, any other final thoughts on the tournament or Arkansas in general?
I mean, we gotta win. I was looking back at the last couple seasons. No team's gone undefeated in the tournament since 2013. So you're probably either going to drop one in the first round, or you're going to drop one in the best of 3. I would like to see Arkansas win out all the way through. And Arkansas in general, I mean, I've been telling my buddy this all year, it's natty or bust. I mean, after 2 years ago with that foul ball dropped against Oregon State, it's like we had to get back there. And this year, everything's clicking. Our starting pitching can get better. Anything but the national championship is disappointment in my eyes. I hate saying that. And it's really weird saying that, being a Razorback football fan or basketball fan or anything but track and baseball. But in this case, if they don't win the national championship, I'm going to be disappointed. I can probably see Dave Van Horn retiring. If they do win the national championship, I can probably see Dave Van Horn retiring. So it's going to suck either way. So it's been a good year, man. And, it's been weird with the COVID restrictions and whatnot, going to the games, lack of fans. Arkansas actually did pretty well and kept those restrictions in place, as opposed to schools like Ole Miss or Mississippi State, where they were at 100% occupancy the entire year. So it is crazy, man. That last game of the season, I forget who it was against. I think Texas A&M. Man, at full crowd, and that place was going nuts. I love to see it. I wish we could get that going for football.
Well, maybe one of these days they'll have a decent football team again, Dave.
Probably not in my lifetime.